Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. Now we have one of them kind of special videos that you see a lot on YouTube. Fix it for free and more power for free and all this sort of stuff. This is truly one of them videos. On a lot of these Renault vans, this is a 2002 Renault Master, the hinges give a lot of problems. Now the hinge, for one hinge, now it depends on where you live, but here it's over 300 euros for one hinge, and there's 4 of them. Then you need to get them painted, then you need to get them fitted, so you're potentially looking at around like 1600 euros to get 4 door hinges on, which is ridiculous. You can go second hand, but the problem is second hand tends to have the same problem. But I'm going to show you a really cool trick that fixes these no problem. There's 2 ways of doing it. One will cost you a little bit of money unless you have a welder at home, and if not, that's what will cost you a few quid. But you can do it without spending a penny. All you need: flat blade screwdriver, some sort of wrench or socket, and an 8mm Allen key. That's it. What happens? Well, I'll show you what happens. Hopefully you can see this. I don't know if you can see the movement on this door. So that hinge is just collapsed forwards, and what happens is it breaks the light. So we'll zoom into light here in a second, and also this little switch here that turns on your lights inside, it tends to break that as well. So hopefully you can see the damage it's actually done to the light. It's actually put a hole in it. You see kind of a big hole there, and as we go further up, this is where the button normally is. Lucky enough with this one, I've actually taken it off, which is just here, because they can break. They're not, these aren't expensive, but it's just annoying. I think this retails at 22 euros plus VAT from the main dealer, obviously. So, but again, normally I found the UK tends to be cheaper on parts. So depending where you are on the planet, that kind of does dictate the price of the part. We get a bit closer now. Hopefully you can see the movement of this maybe slightly better. Just see how much that moves. And what you also tend to find is this little clip here doesn't fit in properly. So if I just see, it's just not lined up properly. So what you need to do is fully open the door. Once you fully open the door, you'll see these 2 little Allen keys. Now the first thing I can see that's wrong is we have a load of grease around here. Now grease is good in some things, but in this it's really, really bad, because what happens is all the bits of shit from the road get caught on this, and it acts like sandpaper. So every time you open and close this door, on these bearings here, you essentially are rubbing them slightly. So you're going to wear them out very, very quickly. So what we are going to do with this, we're going to completely wash all these 4 hinges, and best thing to do is WD-40, something like that. Once you've sprayed WD-40 on, make sure you don't spray loads on, and just kind of give it a wipe, because again, even WD-40 is going to trap bits. But you just want to, if you want to lubricate them slightly, just spray a bit of WD-40, let it drip for a second, quick wipe. That will do you once every couple of months. You know, that really will be fine. But this is our problem, believe it or not, this little plate here. Now we're not going to move the hinge. You don't need to move the hinge, you don't need to line it back up, you don't need to do anything. All we need to do is remove these 2 8mm Allen. Try and do it without getting my hands in the way. Now again, you don't have to worry about it dropping or sagging, because it just won't. And when you put a new hinge on, you have to line it up, and it can be really frustrating. And for this van, it wouldn't be worth putting 4 hinges on. Now we haven't got a problem with 4 hinges, so you don't need to replace all 4. But what I'm about to show you now will solve 99% of people's vans. If it doesn't solve it, you've got problems with this fella here. Just right here. And what I suggest you do is get a second-hand one and do this modification we're doing, because a new one is just redonkulous. That's taken off. Get a flat blade screwdriver. Now see, this is one sign. This bracket is really loose. It just falls out. All I'm going to do is wipe. I'll zoom out now. Now I've got the bracket out, I'm just going to wipe the 2 ends. Now I don't know if the camera's going to show this. Hopefully it is. As you can see on the bottom of that, you've got a really shiny bit. Now I don't know how well the camera. That has essentially worn into that metal maybe 2mm. And that 2mm has caused this damage. So you can just see it there. Now you can kind of see it there now. And same again, right here. You can see the same. It's so hard to get it on camera. If I do that, you see it a bit better. Anyway, you'll see it as clear as day once you get this off. And you can actually feel it. There's a big, huge lip there. And what's happening is every time you open and close the door, this is just rolled around the bearing and it's worn it away. It's really simple as that. But the grease doesn't help because the grease acts as sandpaper. Now, there's two ways of fixing this. The first way, all you've got to do, this is the right way it came in. So as you can see, that just falls into place. All I've got to do is simple as turn it around. Now, as I turn it around, this shouldn't fit in as easy. And as we can see, it doesn't. I have to kind of force that in. That's still not in properly. I'm going to have to a couple of taps, and I will get that down. That's it, solved. Simple as that. If it's really bad, what you can actually do now, this takes a bit of time, but it will save you a fortune. If you've got a welder at home, great. If not, get someone to do it. Essentially, just put a tiny spot of weld on there and there, and sand it down. So with a grinder, just grind it down until you've got that 2 mil or whatever you happen to have, that little mark, so it's nice and straight, and that will do it. But we don't need to do it on this one. All we need to do is turn this around. So now it is essentially upside down. Just a bit of a, it's been quite stubborn to get in, but that's a good thing that it's stubborn to go in. You don't want it to go in nice and easy, because then you're going to have a problem. Now, if someone's already done this, and you've worn on both sides, now essentially, I don't know how many people know this. I discovered it one day just by pure accident. I said I'd give it a go, because I actually thought when I originally did this ages and ages ago, I've done loads of these, that this was maybe some adjuster, and maybe I could, I don't know, tighten up some way to get the slack out of it enough to get the person going. And as I pulled it off, I said, well, this is worn. And I said, just for hell of it, I'll turn it around, and it worked. I mean, it was pot luck that I did it, but like I said, I've done loads of them, and yeah, eventually that will wear, but you're going to save, you know, well, potentially over £1,000 if you needed to replace all 4 of them. And this works on a lot more Renaults as well. I can't remember which other Renaults. I think some Trafics, Renault Trafics, that's even including Nissans as well, that have these type of hinges. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know the Masters definitely do. Now I'm just going to put this in evenly. There we go. Now, let's see what happens. So I'm just going to put it back as normal. There's my camera in the way. Now, don't be afraid if you get a little bit of movement. That's not really, you're always going to get a little bit of movement, but you should get nowhere near as much. But not only that, it should clear the light. It should lock on this a lot easier. It should do everything. So I'm just going to move the camera back. So the first thing you want to do is actually make sure it locks. This locks, so we're okay. Second thing you want to do is make sure it goes into this little black strap here. And as you can see, it went in before I'd have to really force it in. So now we can actually check. There we go. It's clearing the light. So essentially it's not going to hit our light down here. But not only that, when we do bring it around, as you can see, it really is nice and tight. And there you go. It is as simple as that, and that will save you hundreds. Like I said, worst case scenario, if you can't weld it, get a second-hand one. But what most people would say to a second-hand one's a crap, which is granted. But if you turn that around, sorted. You can even make them up. It's not exactly that hard piece of iron. Again, it might take you, don't get me wrong, to make something like that, yeah, would be annoying. But you can potentially save, well, hundreds. That fix was going to cost the customer, I think it's 300 something euros plus VAT, then plus to get it painted, and then for me to fit it and to line it all up, you could potentially be talking like 500 euros. That's going to cost him fuck all. So there you go. I mean, you do the maths. Simple. That's it. Really simple. Nothing to it. So look, hope it helps. Thumbs up and subscribe and all that. Don't forget, check out our forum, check out our shop, GoFundMe project, all that. Check me on Facebook, you know, the usual, all the links down below. But most importantly, don't forget, get your hands dirty. We'll see you for the next one.